Hi everyone, it's James here. Hope you're all doing well. So this is going to be a response video to Edwin, Pretty Green Vinyl Guy, who's just uploaded a video called the 15 Album Link Challenge. So this extends on from my 10 album link challenge. Edwin is wanting us to push the boat out a bit, try and keep going, keep the pressure up. So I was going to have a nice restful afternoon in the garden this afternoon, and that went totally by the wayside. So I'm here now to present to you all the 20 album link challenge. Okay, and I'm not going to take too long over it, hopefully. So we're going to start off with number 1, Jeff Lynne and Armchair Theatre. And of course Jeff Lynne was the powerhouse, creative powerhouse behind ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra. This is our number 2 record. This album was engineered by a chap called Mac Reinhardt, who was a very respected engineer back in the day, and it was recorded at Musicland Studios, and this album was also recorded with Mac at Musicland Studios. This is Hot Space by Queen. This is album number 3, and on this record there is a track called Under Pressure, on which David Bowie is a guest, so that's going to take us to number 4, David Bowie and the album Low. This album, Low, is produced by a certain gentleman called Tony Visconti, and Tony Visconti was responsible for doing the orchestrations on this record. This is the debut album by The Move, so he did the orchestrations on Flowers in the Rain and a couple of other tracks. And the drummer from this band, Bev Bevan, there he is, there, he in later years went on to play on this record. This is our number 6, this is Paul Weller and Wake Up the Nation. Bev plays on 2 tracks. He plays on the first 2 songs, Moonshine and Wake Up the Nation. So that's Paul Weller, number 6. So number 7, Paul Weller guests on this record. This is Robert Wyatt and the album Sleep. I think he plays on the track, possibly the track Was a Friend, or it might be Free Will and Testament, I can't quite remember. Anyway, so Robert Wyatt is our number 7 artist. Robert Wyatt was in The Soft Machine, so this is number 8, a Canterbury progressive rock band from the late 60s, early 70s. And also in The Soft Machine was a certain gentleman called Hugh Hopper. And Hugh Hopper played on this record, which I showed in my last 10 album link challenge. He plays on a couple of tracks on Syd Barrett's Madcap Laughs. Syd Barrett, of course, always links nowhere else really but to Pink Floyd. So number 10 is Pink Floyd, and this is their second album, Source Full of Secrets, which was produced by a guy called Norman Smith, who was a kind of in-house studio engineer at EMI Studios. Quite a straight guy, but he produced that record. Now Norman Smith had been the engineer for the Beatles. This is one of the albums that he engineered for them. This is Rubber Soul. This takes us to number 11. And as we all know, in the Beatles there was a certain bass player by the name of Paul McCartney. So he is our number 12 musician. This is his album Flowers in the Dirt, which came out in 1988, I think. And this album had a few songwriting collaborations with our number 13 person, that being Elvis Costello. This is his album Imperial Bedroom. This is Elvis and the Attractions, of course. Now on the back you can see this guy here. We've got another drummer. This is Pete Thomas, who was the drummer in the Attractions, and he takes us on to our number 14 album, which is the album Struck by Lightning by Graham Parker. And if we turn on the back we can see Pete there. Pete Thomas played drums on that record. So number 14 is Graham Parker. Now, on this record, there is a song by Goffin and King, and the name escapes me momentarily. The song is I'm Into Something Good by the legendary Goffin and King. King, of course, being the beautiful and talented Carole King, and this is her album Tapestry. So we're now on number 15. Now on this record there is a backing vocalist, and her name is Mary Clayton, and she used to do the rounds back in the 60s. She sang on quite a lot of important records. Her most spectacular performance was this one. This is our number 16 record. This is the Rolling Stones and Let It Bleed, Mary Clayton sings on Gimme Shelter, a very memorable performance. Okay, also on this record, on Let It Bleed, there is a guest appearance by a keyboard player, by an American keyboard player by the name of Al Kooper. And Al Kooper plays on this record. This is Super Session with Mike Bloomfield, Al Kooper and Stephen Stills. And the musician that we're going to be focusing on now is Mike Bloomfield. He was a legendary guitar player, chiefly famous for having played on this record. This is our number 18 record. This is Highway 61 Revisited, on which Bloomfield played some singing guitar leads. Now then, we're almost there. So, Bob Dylan, in later years, went on to be one of the Travelling Wilburys, and another person who was in the Travelling Wilburys was our next person, that being our number 20 artist, that being Tom Petty. And Tom Petty made a guest appearance on the first solo album recorded by Jeff Lynne on Armchair Theatre, and that brings us back home. Right folks, now I'm going to relax. Thank you. See you soon.